basically she sold everything I owned. I couldn't do anything. I was just tied to a wall. You see the scars.
Hi, what's your name?
My name is Greg Griffiths.
Where are you from?
I'm from England, just south of Manchester in the UK.
And why did you come to the Philippines?
Well, I left England in 2011, and I travelled around Northern Asia. I had some personal family problems, and I wanted to just get away and clear my head because I'd had a bit of a breakdown, to be quite honest. I wanted to find a place here to retire. Like I said to you, I had plenty of money. I'd sold my house, my cars, my motorbike before I came away. So I settled down. Then I met a girl, and I thought I was madly in love, and basically everything she told me was a complete lie. But she didn't live with me. I had the apartment and she used to visit. So yeah, 2.5 years go on. We're just going forward in time now to October. I came here in 2016, November 2016. My mother passed away in her sleep, very peacefully, very quietly. She was 82, October 2018. And then I had to go and live with my girlfriend. Now that didn't work out because basically she sold everything I owned. All my possessions she sold, laptop, phones, you name it, she sold it for drugs. So I then took a job in Camotes Island as an electrical engineer. I'm not an electrical engineer, but I know how to wire, I know how to build houses. So I went and worked on a school extension there and did all the channeling in and all the plug sockets and the light switches and all stuff like that. And I worked there for 6 months. Then I had a very bad accident, a motorbike accident. I knocked all my teeth out, I got a metal plate in my head, broke my leg in 3 places. I spent 2 months in Vicente Soto Hospital. And of course, I had no money because my mother's died. And all my money that I'd given to her, I couldn't get, so I had no money. And she died the year before. So I was in hospital and I got a bill for 1.4 million pesos. And I thought, oh dear, that's not good, because they don't let you out unless you can pay. So 2 days later, the probate had been lifted on her estate. She had a lot of investments and everything. And I got 1.8 million left to me by her. Not my money gone. The 22 million that I had saved was gone. But 1.8 I had, so I had 400,000 left. But I had to go back and live with the crazy girlfriend, and I was in traction for 1 year, tied to her wall. She didn't feed me. I lost 16 kilos in weight, and she basically physically and mentally abused me for 1 year because I didn't have any money. She spent the 400,000. That all went on drugs.
Yeah.
Her and her family, it was dished out, with her and her family. There's 12 in the family. They deal in drugs, they take drugs, they've been on it for God. Shabu. I don't do drugs. I do not do drugs. So, as soon as I could walk, which I couldn't put any weight on this leg at all because it's got titanium through the middle of the bone, holding it together, so I couldn't put any weight on it. So until I could walk, I couldn't do anything. I was just tied to a wall. Bear in mind, this girlfriend, when I say crazy, she set fire to the house one night with her 4 children next door in a tiny little house, and she hit me with a Red Horse bottle, sliced me with a knife. She just went, if she couldn't get drugs, she went crazy. I've never seen anything like it. But I'm a big boy and I put up with it and I got nowhere else to go. So what the hell do I do? So as soon as I could walk, got what I could carry, and I staggered off and I slept on a pool table for 2 weeks. Then I ended up, about 2 weeks later, I met a guy and he said, come with me, I have somewhere for you to stay. We went to this little farmhouse up in the hills and I was happy as Larry. Had electricity and little butane, give me a radio, got water supply close by. And it was great. We sold all the fruits on the farm and it was simple life. That's all I wanted. I didn't want anything complicated. I wanted a simple life and I was really enjoying it. Then Odette happened. That was December the 16th, 2000. Was it 2000? I can't remember if it was 20 or no. Yeah, it was 20. And house totally destroyed. Lost all my clothes. Lost everything. All my family pictures, everything that I had left. So rebuilt the house. July of the same year, last year. Barangay could turn up with the police. Eviction notice. the people that own the land, the farmland, most of them work for a company called Arsenas. They're a construction company, but they lost so much money during COVID, they had to build quick, they had to make money. So we all got evicted, 150 people. Everyone was Filipino, got 5,000 relocations. So they all went back to their province. I had nowhere to go. So I stayed at the barangay in Tisa, and I've ended up here in La Hague, trying to get a job. I found it very difficult because I don't have all the paper requirements. I don't have all my school records and stuff like that. I don't carry that sort of stuff with me. So, and it all went to my mum's house anyway when it was sold. So yeah, I'm basically in a situation where I'm sort of waiting for a miracle of some description or some help, some assistance, anything. Anybody that can help me just get out of this situation. As you can see from the surroundings here, it's not exactly ideal. You know, I'm just getting over pneumonia. I seem to get fever every time it rains. And I'm 62, you know, and I'm just not made for this anymore, you know.
Yeah.
I'm pretty tough, but it's starting to wear me down. 6 months living like this, you know, showering sat there, and rats every night, a lot of mosquitoes, not eating for days, you know, having no money, no income whatsoever, just relying purely and simply on friends like Ian, the man you met today, who just give me a little bit of money just to see me by. You know, he's not a millionaire, he's a retired man. But they help me out. Some people bring me a bit of food, you know, blankets and stuff like that. People are fantastic here. It's the only country I've ever been to where I've heard the saying, share a blessing, and they really do share a blessing here. But I think the Philippines, a lot of people have been through hard times. They've seen suffering. So when they see somebody that's struggling, they help them.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they finance them, but they will help you out, you know. And people have been very, very good to me, you know. I've had a lot of stuff stolen, yeah, but I live on the street, you know.
Yeah.
And
Aside from environmental dangers, do you feel anything can happen to you? What's happened to you? Anything crazy or unimaginable living on the street for 6 months? What are some things that you've been through so far?
so many things. Well, when I started here, I started cooking food.
Mm-hmm.
And I was doing really well. I was doing champorada because a lot of school children come through here, and the kids love champorada. I was cooking banana Q and stuff, and I was doing quite well. And then I got mugged one night. 3 guys just dragged me out of bed. All my money was in this wrap, and they took all my money, so I couldn't reinvest in stock. They took all my cooking equipment, so I'm stuffed because I have no capital behind me at all.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I built up from nothing to a little bit, but I had basic equipment. I haven't got anything now.
So what's some equipment you can use right now to get back to where you were selling stuff?
Just about everything I need. You know, pots, pans. You know, it's all gone.
Yeah.
They took it all.
Okay, I
They
see.
swiped it. 3 guys in the middle of the night smashed me real bad here,
Mm-hmm.
and I was in hospital for a week in Vicente
Okay.
Soto yet again. They know me quite well there.
If right now, basically, the first thing that comes to mind is why can't you go to the embassy or something,
I
or go
can.
back home or
I've
something?
been. I can go back home if I want. I don't want. I've got bad. The reason I left England is because a lot of problems to do with my family. I lost my family, and I don't want the reminder of it. I haven't
Yeah.
lived there for, well, I left in 2011, but I haven't really lived in England for over 20 years, so I've got
Uh-huh.
no friends there. My mother was my only relative. My mother and father were single children. I'm adopted. I had a sister. She died when she was 7. So I've got no relatives whatsoever, not
Yeah.
one. So I've got no one that can help me. I would not know where to go and live in England. I honestly
understand.
wouldn't know. I know where I grew up. I don't know anybody there now.
Yeah.
So it'd be like me going to Australia. I've never been there either, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I can go back. I've spoke to the embassy many times. I had long. When my mother died, I couldn't even go back to the funeral. I had no money. I had 1,500 pesos.
Mm.
I didn't even go back to the funeral.
Is it hard to find like a cash job? I know you got no birth certificate, but can you just work somewhere, labor, to get a few dollars at
That's
least?
one of my problems. Is I have similar problems to you. I have few leg problems. I broke this leg
Yeah.
in Thailand in 2013, and this one I did 2019. So, you know, both my legs are pretty bad and I've got very little feeling in. I can't stand up all day. I can't do physical work like I did on the building site. I can't do that anymore. What do I do? You know, cooking is the only thing I know. I used to have restaurants, so I'm not a qualified chef, but I know how to cook and I know how to make good food and I know how to make it reasonably and I know how to price it all up to survive. I can maintain myself, but it's getting the start. I had nearly 10,000 pesos saved up, and I did that in about 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And I was doing all right, and I was thinking, oh, the next step, and then bang, you get.
Yeah. So right now, how much would it cost for you to get back some cooking tools, some oil, like obviously a burner or some pots and pans? How much do you think it will cost?
I probably need about, God, I haven't even thought about it. Probably about 8,000, something like that.
Yeah.
To get going. I can't do it here. It's not hygienic. Not with that. Not with all that crap there. Rats running around. You can't sell food when it's like that. That wasn't there before, you see, when I was selling the food. None of that. I had all this clear. This was all clear.
Yeah.
And people used to come through and they used to sit down and they used to have a bite to eat, you know, and a cup of coffee or whatever, you know.
Now, ideally, obviously, I assume you don't want to be in this situation.
No.
So what is the long-term plan? Like, miracles don't happen every day,
No,
right? So
they
what
don't.
can you do right now to make yourself at least start moving towards the right direction?
Well, I've applied for a lot of jobs in call centres, but they all say the same thing. They all want the same requirements. My work permit's ran out now. I can't afford to redo that. My visa, I'm very fortunate. A guy, my next door neighbour from Tisa, pays my visa for me. He knows the problems I've had. He's an American guy. He used to be. He wasn't a captain of a ship, but he was in the Navy, and he was quite high up in the Navy. And he said, "Look, Greg, I'll help you any way I can." He said he's got 5 kids of his own.
Yeah.
Their extended family live with him. There's no way I was going to say, "Can I come and sleep in your garage?" I don't do things like that. I don't ask people for money.
Yeah.
The only thing I ask for, if I run out of water, I have to have water.
Yes.
I just say, "Could you spare me a couple of pesos?" I don't ask you in for money. Sometimes he'll just give me 50 pesos. I've got 2 pesos on me. I haven't really eaten for 2 days, so I just survive.
Well, most of the time, it's the Filipino people that walk by and to help you out with some food or blankets, like you mentioned, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, some foreigners, but the foreigners, to be honest, they have a different attitude. Europeans and that, we have a different attitude. I've earned it, it's mine, I'm not sharing it.
Yeah.
Here, they share everything. It's a different attitude, it's a different mentality. It's what I have experienced, But no, the people are incredibly generous.
Okay.
They bring me food.
Whatever happened to that crazy girlfriend of yours? Were you able
No
to hold her
idea.
accountable or some
No
sort of
idea.
like liability?
No idea. I just left and that's it. No contact.
Mm.
No, don't want any contact. When I say crazy, you see the scars?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got lots of scars from her. All these are from barbecue stick. When she went crazy, she got a barbecue stick, which is what they use. They don't have butane and stuff like that up in the mountains. They use sticks to start fire. And if she was angry, she'd just get the stick. If it wasn't me, she'd beat her 4-year-old daughter. I've never seen anything like it in my life. Black and blue.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like it, and that's when I knew she was crazy, and that's when I knew I had to get away. But it's getting away when you've got no money. So, it's been a struggle. But then I got a job in Comotes. I was free, 6 months I was working out there. And I worked hard. I had a little tiny apartment. I had a little old motorbike. Used to go to work on each day. I worked with 30 Filipinos who didn't speak a word of English, but we had a laugh. And it was a good experience, I've learned a lot of things while I've been here. I know how to make oling. Do you know how to make oling?
I do not.
Charcoal.
Okay.
I don't know. I didn't know. I know now.
Yeah.
You dig a trench. It's a bit like a coffin. It's like burying someone.
Wow.
And you fill it full of wood, and then you cover it in turf, and then grass, and then you burn it overnight, and then you pick the coal out. And for every sack, you get 250 pesos. It is hard work. A lot of.
Sounds like hard work. Yeah.
Yeah, and you burn your fingers a lot. Yeah, but I've done it. This is Lumboy. I make Lumboy and sell it. When I've got enough money to buy tobacco, that's Lumboy.
Mm.
You know what lump is?
I have no idea.
Right. You split the leaves, and then you put tobacco in it.
Okay.
You roll them up, and then you sell them.
Mm.
And you get, for a bag of 12, you get 20 pesos.
Interesting. So you're doing your part, whatever you can, what you learn
I
to at
don't,
least.
yeah, I don't sit here doing nothing all day.
Mhm.
I'll go crazy. You know? I'm not stupid. I'm a university graduate.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
So I went to China for 6 months, lived in the mountains, and then I went to Vietnam for 9 months. Then I drove a little motorbike to Cambodia, and I ended up in Indonesia. And I was quite settled in Indonesia. I had a nice rental house, and then I went to Singapore to renew my visa, and I always stay in the same small place, and there was a Filipino man that ran it, and he was very helpful to me when I first went to Singapore. I've been to Singapore many, many times. And his father died, and he's from Mandawi in Cebu, here. He couldn't come back for the funeral because it was the time of the Formula One Grand Prix. It was too busy. All the hotels were packed, and he might have lost his job, and he had 5 children, so he was distraught about this. So I said, look, we'll do a transcript. I'll come back to Cebu on my way back to Indonesia. We'll have the transcript read at the funeral, and then the transcript can go in the coffin, and then everyone's happy. You know, his brother was giving him grief because he couldn't come back for the funeral, you know.
Yeah.
You know what big families like. So anyway, so I did that for 3 days, and then his mother, she really took to me because I was helping her son out. And she took me all over the place, and she wouldn't let me pay for anything. I had plenty of money, but she wouldn't let me pay for anything. So after a week, I thought, I've had enough. You know, I moved into a smaller part hotel, and then I got a small motorbike, and I just travelled around. And the more I saw of the Philippines, the more I wanted to stay, because to me, it's better than Indonesia. It's very, very similar in landscape and everything else, but the culture's totally different.
Yeah.
There's a big religious problem, the Muslims and the Catholics. Yeah, it's quite volatile there, and that's the one thing I really didn't like. Plus, you can't get pork, and I like pork, and it's very difficult to get alcohol of any description. Yeah. So, so I decided to stay.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your story.
My pleasure. I've really enjoyed talking to you.
You as well.
Hopefully something will turn up in the future. You never know.
You never know.
You never know what's around the corner.
You never know. I made this video for 2 particular reasons. One, to remind everybody that no matter who you are, that something like this could happen to any one of us. A series of unfortunate events can lead us be in a position that we could never imagine ourselves being in. And second, if you're living in Cebu City or are in the area, have a job opportunity for Greg, please email me at TalkNowCanada and let me know what we can do to help Greg out, because he needs it, clearly. And I don't usually like to highlight or exploit people and their situations for views, but in this case, if someone's out there within the city limits that has a job offer for Greg, let me know and I'll pass on the information to him. Thank you for watching.